I'm Willie D from the D Ranch, and today we're going to be talking about the secret fuel filter you can put on your Ram 3500 to help save your injectors, help purify your fuel systems, and just have a better running truck. On the Ram 3500, you're supposed to change your fuel filters every 15,000 miles or every oil change as the book recommends. So I started doing that, and it really wasn't too hard of a process to begin with from the factory, but what I noticed was it was very expensive. And I always research all of my filters whenever I put them in my truck, and I started looking at, you might say, OEM replacements, like putting a Wix in there, putting a Fram, putting the different fleet guards, different things like that, but they were still pretty expensive, and I just didn't really see anything that really improved the filtration that much. They might have had a little bit different filtration membrane or a little bit different top piece on there, but nothing really that stood apart from the competition. So I started researching and looking for something that was actually going to achieve that, and I ran across cat filters, how you could actually take off your factory system and replace it with a system that would take these cats. And if you've ever replaced the fuel filters on a OEM Ram 3500, you know it's not a difficult job, as I said, but it's a pain in the butt. It's got a plastic housing that you have to work around. You have to get a big old socket, get in there. Hopefully you don't break the plastic housing whenever you're taking it off. And then there's a gasket on there that makes it really hard to crank off. Just every single time I've changed them on a whole bunch of different trucks, and I've never had a time where I just thought, oh man, that was just super easy. So once again, I was looking for better filtration and ease of change of the filters. So the CAT system really delivered for me. I went ahead and installed it on my truck 15,000 miles ago, and I've loved it. I have no complaints. The filters are cheaper. I went down to Warren Cat and actually picked up my new set, and I'll give you some of these prices. So for the first filter that you're going to need, this is the water separator, which I have right here. That's going to be the 175 2949. At Warren Cat, it's only going to run you $31.49. If you get on Amazon, it's probably going to be at least $10 more than that. If you get on some diesel performance websites, it'll still be upcharged, you know, $5 to $8. But if you can find a local cat dealer, that's really what I'd recommend. And I had a really good parts advisor. His name is Lloyd Reese. So if you're in the Tulsa area and you're around there, I say Tulsa area, it's kind of more so towards Owasso by the racetrack. But look up Lloyd. He was really helpful. I had never gone to Cat to buy parts, and he made me feel right at home. So that was the first filter I had. And on top of that, they did have it in stock. So added bonus, you don't have to wait on shipping. The next filter that I got was the 1R750, and this is the normal fuel filter that you're going to get whenever you buy the CAT bypass system, wherever you take out your OEM fuel system, and put this one in there for the filtration. This is the normal filter that you're going to get, and it is a lot larger than your OEM one. I'm going to put the OEM one right here so you can check that out and just see the comparison. It really does a good job, but more than just having the more filtering area and ease of changing it, it actually filters it better. So if you haven't looked up CAT filters, I am not sponsored by them. I just did a lot of research, and I've really kind of been captivated by what they do as a company, and I really like their filters. So that's what I've been running on my truck since. But they actually do something a little bit better. Instead of having, I believe the OEM filters only filter at 3 or 4 microns, they actually take it all the way down to 2 microns. I haven't found any filters that'll take it down past 2 microns, so this is as good as you can get. And you can also buy aftermarket CAT filters, but I haven't found one that's better. Some people believe in the Baldwins or even the Wix, but if you look at actually how the filter is constructed, give me a reason why I should change my mind. I'm really curious. Like I said, spent hours looking into this, and this is what I found. Now, in my research and looking into different things, I thought, well, if CAT has this filter, maybe they have like a pro version of it instead of just your standard. Here you go out of the box. Do they have a performance one? And that's when I started to research and look into just different filters in general. And I started looking at the dimensions and the specs, and I ran across this one right here. Now, this is that secret fuel filter I was telling you about. This is the 1R0749. So this actually has very similar specs to the actual size of it when you're putting it on there. It's a little bit larger. Whenever you put it on back to back like this, you can see, but where the O-ring gasket meets up, it's exactly the same. It has the same thread pattern. Now, the thought that crossed my mind whenever I was looking into this is obviously it's quite a bit larger. Clearly, that engine compartment doesn't have a lot of space. So today, this morning, whenever I got up, I went ahead and took off my 750 that I had on there, and I went ahead and dry fitted this, and to not my surprise, but I was very, very happy, it does fit in there. So if you're looking for an upgrade on your CAT system, you can go ahead and upgrade to this 1R0749. It's going to give you a bigger filter. I talked to the guys at CATS. It's not necessarily it's got the same membrane inside of it. It's got the same amount of exiting holes whenever you're getting that fuel returned to you. So there's not very much different on that, but it's more filter area. So if you asked me, do you want a filter that's 3 inches, or actually in this case, do you want one that's 8 inches, or do you want one that's 11 inches? I'm going to pick the 11 inch because it's going to have much more filtering surface area. So that's why I chose that. I haven't ran it on the truck, obviously, but performance-wise, it shouldn't change anything. It's just going to help me prolong the life of my injectors and more so the life of my truck. I always go to Sam's to get my diesel, get a little discount on there, but I have heard that sometimes there's a little water in the fuel, so having the best filtration possible is super important to me, and you just never know what you're putting in your tank. So I recommend these CAT filters. If you have something else you'd recommend, let me know. I'd be very curious. I'll tell you a little bit about the other filters I use. So I'm CAT across the board whenever it comes to my fuel filters, but where it changes is I do not put a CAT filter on my oil filter. So when it comes to my oil filter, I actually use the Fleet Guard, and there's 2 different Fleet Guards that you can buy. One of them starts with LF -036 or 36, something along those lines, and it has a very standard oil filter membrane. Now, the one that I chose to use is a little bit more expensive, but it has a better membrane. With this truck, as I said, you're looking at 15,000 mile intervals, not interviews, we're not at a job, but intervals on these oil changes. So spending that extra couple bucks is really gonna save you long term. I mean, that's why you have a filter, is to protect your engine. So having the best filter is gonna have the best protection. So I choose the LF, I believe it's 6035. I'll put a link below, and also I'll put a picture of it right here because I can look it up here in a second. That's the oil filter I use. When I choose my air filter, I choose a Wix. I've always been a fan of the Wix air filters, and during COVID, I noticed that there was a lot of brands, I think, that were substituting their products, and it seemed like they were using Fram filters and just stamping their name on there. Today, when I got my last one, and they were same part numbers, same everything, same supplier, it actually looked more so like a Wix filter. It had that black exterior, it had the yellow membrane, and it also had that glue strip along the base. So it looked more like a true Wix to me, so I'm really glad to see they're getting back to those standards of construction, because I want to protect my truck the best way possible. The other thing, if you didn't know, whenever you're changing your oil on your Ram 3500, it also does recommend changing your front, your rear, and your transfer case oil. So make sure you do that as well. If you have any questions about these filters or anything I've been talking about, drop a comment below and I'll get back to you. And if nothing else, make sure to like and subscribe and check out all the other content on the D Ranch. We have lots of different ranch and rodeo content for you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm Willie D. I'll see you next time.